Hi
Hi.
there. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Good. Yeah,
All right.
I I hope my connection is good today.
Okay. Well, if it's not, we'll just deal with it. Worst case scenario, we can always talk on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, what's that?
Nothing.
Okay. We just got like a little robotic sound there for a second. Well, how was life this week?
Oh, I'm here.
How was
It was pretty good.
yeah?
I was gonna say there were ups and downs, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, tell me about that. What stood out to you most?
Um, I don't know. Derek was gone for a few days. I don't know. He left Wednesday and came back on Saturday night. So it was a nice break, but it wasn't long enough.
I talked to somebody the other day that said their husband was leaving town, and I said, "Oh man, you gonna do some fun stuff?" And she's like, "No, I really don't like it when he's gone." And I was like, "I like call a friend, go like watch a movie, paint your nails, do something fun."
Yeah.
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 Well, good. Okay, so last week, we talked a lot about, I'm looking at the notes from last week on what you wanted to do, and you said that you wanted to really work on loving and appreciating yourself, like working on gratitude, listening to your body, keep practicing, and listen when the lessons are right in front of you rather than like, 2 days later. How did that go?
um, I think it went okay. I'm still just, frustrated. Like I know I'm making progress, but I just don't feel like I am, and I'm just tired. Like I'm at the point where I don't want to give up, but I do, you know what I mean? Like this isn't working. I don't want to do this anymore. This is stupid. And, that kind of thing. But I know logically that's not true. I know I'm making progress. So I just have this, back and forth going on. Like I can't do it. I'm so tired, sick and tired of overeating and feeling full and not listening to my body. Like it's just exhausting.
All right, tell me the last time that happened.
Yesterday, all day. Let me think of a specific. Last night, um, I was hungry, so I ate dinner, and it was a reasonable amount. It wasn't like a huge amount or anything. It was, but I didn't enjoy every bite. I'm not slowing down or any of that. Like I don't feel like I'm ever doing that. But I still like just ate what was in my bowl, and then I stopped, and then I was full but not uncomfortable. And then I sat on the couch and we were watching Relative Race, and everybody starts getting ice cream out. So, of course, I have to have ice cream because everybody else is. And I wasn't hungry. I was fine.
Mhm.
So, of course, I had ice cream, and then I was uncomfortably full all the rest of the night. And I just felt bleh, yucky.
Okay. Okay. So let's retrace your steps then. Let's go back to the beginning of the meal. You were hungry when you started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you kind of glossed over
Mm-hmm.
that part about how you said, I didn't enjoy every bite, I didn't pay attention to what I was eating, right? And you kind of glossed over that, like, I didn't do that, but that shouldn't really matter. That shouldn't affect what I did afterward. But it does affect what you do afterwards, right? So
Yeah.
tell me why did you not want to stop and enjoy every bite or pay attention to how you were feeling while you were eating?
Um, Sorry, I have to move because my connection is just not
That's fine.
very good. And I have to turn off my vacuum, so I'm sorry. It's too loud.
You're
to
good.
find it. Okay. Why didn't I take my time and enjoy my food? Is that the question?
Yeah. What was going on emotionally for you, mentally for you?
Well, it was Sunday. And
I kind of thought that might have something to do with it.
and
All right, so just give me the emotions. How are you feeling?
sad, disappointed, bored, lonely. That's all I can think of.
Okay. So let's start with sad. What was making you sad?
That Derek didn't acknowledge me at church. Dawson moved out, and so this was the first Sunday that he could have come to church, and he didn't. Which, of course, I knew he wouldn't, but deep down, it was just sad.
Now, how does him moving out make it so that he can come to church?
Because I'm not there. He doesn't feel the pressure probably to have to go because we're not, he's not here. We're not getting ready for church, and so he's at somewhere in else's house, and he doesn't have to go. And I don't say you have to go to church, so.
So you felt like if he was without that pressure, that then he would want to go?
No.
So what did you mean by this was the first Sunday that he could go?
Could not go. Because he just moved out a week ago.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I heard you wrong. Okay, so he moved out and chose not to go to church.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're not surprised, but disappointed.
Right.
Yeah, got that.
Yeah. Got that. I don't know if I'm disappointed. More just sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not beating myself up. I'm not blaming myself. I'm not a terrible, none of that. It's just sad.
Good. Yeah.
It's okay. I can be sad.
Yeah, absolutely. And any mom in your situation would feel sad about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a lot of sadness between Derek not acknowledging you and Dawson choosing not to go to church, and you're alone at church for the first time, right?
Well, I mean, I had my girls.
Oh, that's right. Your girls are younger. That's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that cover what made you sad?
I think so.
Okay. What's the disappointed? What made you feel disappointed?
That Derek didn't acknowledge me, and that we have talked about it, and so.
When you talked about it, what did you tell him?
I don't remember.
Give me the general gist. I mean,
probably that I just feel sad that he doesn't make, I don't feel like I'm a priority, and that he doesn't, want to say hi to me. And I said, I'm not asking for 5 minutes of your time. All I am asking is just for you to say hi and give me a hug and a kiss, and we're good. So, and he did good for a long time, or a while, I guess. Okay. So this was the first Sunday, I don't know, maybe a month it's been since I talked to him, that he hasn't.
Okay. Okay, so you just felt sad because it was the first Sunday in the month that he hasn't acknowledged you, and he has been doing okay till then, but he didn't yesterday, and you probably felt like you had an extra need for it with Dawson.
Yeah.
The whole Dawson thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, because he's a guy, he didn't think about that.
Right.
Yeah, Okay.
He's busy. He's in bishopric mode, and when he's at church, he's just in work mode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He doesn't.
Anything else make you feel disappointed?
I don't think so.
Okay. What about bored?
I just don't know what to do on Sundays. Even though we're so busy, still when there's downtime, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to fill it with. So it makes me feel bored, like I don't have anything to do. So I actually journaled about that last night, and I prayed about it to, okay, Heavenly Father, please help me to come up with some things that I can do on Sundays to fill the time.
That's awesome.
So,
did anything come to mind?
Nope, not yet.
Have you tried talking to other people about what kinds of things they do on Sundays?
No, but I have thought about that.
Yeah. There's some interesting ideas I've gotten because, yeah, I think it's a struggle because you're not doing your normal things.
Yeah.
And of course, when you have kids at home, you're also thinking about setting a good example for them.
Mm-hmm.
The hard thing is sometimes you're not in the mood to do some of the things that come to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, because I just want to relax and rest.
Right, right. Which there's nothing wrong with that as well, right? And being able to find, as long as it's working, but if resting is just making you feel bored, that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got sad, disappointed, and bored. What about lonely?
Just with Derek. Just the and same kind of stuff that's been going on for a while now. Just he was gone for 3 or 4 days, and I still feel like when he came home, maybe there was some guilt there too. Like I should feel like I want to be with him, and I should feel like I missed him, and I should, shitting all over myself, and I just didn't. It's like, that was enough time. I need you to go away for a longer time, and maybe I will want you again. I don't know. So I guess that adds to all those other feelings too, and the loneliness. And
when we feel like we're not connected with someone, if it feels like they don't want to connect with us, then sometimes it's easy to push them away emotionally because it feels less painful than if we're saying, I want you to want to be with me, but you don't want that. So, I either have to be really upset about that or I have to just distance myself from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you feel like there's some of that going on maybe?
Probably. I do feel like he's trying to connect a little bit here and there, but I don't know. I just don't feel the same way. And it's sad.
When you say you don't feel the same way, what's the same way that you don't feel?
Like sometimes I just don't feel like I want to connect with him, or I want to be with him, or spend time with him. Just like when he was gone, it was just nice. I just did my own thing and did my thing with the girls, and I don't know. Just I've never been in this place before, and it's kind of sad and scary.
So isn't it interesting? I'm looking at the notes I've just typed, and you have polar opposites. On one hand, you're very sad that he doesn't acknowledge you, that he doesn't like he wants to be with you, that you're not the priority. And then on the other hand, you're saying, I don't want to be with you. You're not a priority. I don't want to connect with you.
Yeah.
Right?
I just realized that too.
Yeah. So they're both real feelings. So tell me, what do you think? How do they coexist at the same time? Because they do.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like I'm a hypocrite, and when he doesn't acknowledge me, then I want him to, but at the same time, I don't want to acknowledge him, so that's not right.
So it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like there may be some resentment going on.
Yeah, probably.
So if you could choose one of the two emotions, if you could choose to be completely connected with him and really enjoy being together and have time with one another, or you could choose to have him go out of town more often and be without him, which would you choose?
The first one.
Yeah. Does the first one feel very possible?
Yeah.
Because you can remember times when you've been connected like that before.
Yeah.
Right. So if you were getting what you needed, the connection with Derek, do you think that you would feel the way you did when he got back?
No.
So just take a bigger look at that and just realize it doesn't sound to me, and you're the one that really knows this, but it doesn't sound to me like you don't really want him around and that you wish he'd be gone longer. What you don't want is for him to be around and not feel connected to him.
Yeah.
Because when they're here and you don't feel connected, it's in your face.
Yeah.
And when they're gone and you're not connected, it feels like there's a legitimate reason for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
How do I know that? My husband traveled a lot. And we got to a place, for a while, he was working out of state and he was only home on the weekends. And it got to be extremely difficult. And it got to the point where it was easier to have him not come home because he was messing up our schedule. He was so tired when he got home on the weekends that he was almost a bigger pain to have around, because he just wanted to sleep and catch up, and then he'd be gone again. We decided, the whole working out of state thing didn't work for us. That was a big, big danger for us. But I understand that feeling of, I desperately need to be connected to you, but because we're not, I have to shut off my emotions or I'll be miserable all the time. Yeah. So in reality, still to connect with him. Right?
Yeah.
So I think I've shared this with you before, but I'm going to say it again because it's a good one worth repeating. I have one of my best friends is a therapist, and she's a marriage, what is it? An MFT, a marriage and family therapist. And she said that when somebody is trying to change and they're really, really trying hard, they will only get it right 1 out of 4 times when they start. Right? So if you have a month's worth of Sundays and Derek's trying to change hard, you might see at first only 1 out of 4 weeks, 1 every month, would you see like an actual connection happen between you two. And the other 3 weeks will be horrible. But that actually is a sign that they are actually trying very hard. Right?
Okay.
And as they continue to try, it might go to 2 of the 4 weeks. And then as they keep trying hard, it might get to 3 of the 4 weeks. And it may never be perfect. You may never get to 4 of 4 weeks. But that when you see that, you know that there's serious effort being made. And then she has to teach people that all the time, because we have a tendency to say, well, if he really cared, he would never mess that up.
Yeah.
Right? If he cared, he would not do that. But the truth is, he's very human. And he's also being triggered with his own challenges and beliefs and all the stuff that goes in him being bishop. And so for him to be able to handle it perfectly, probably not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
But to show you that he's really making an effort is a different thing. Right? Yeah. But we get and I'm the queen. I've decided I'm the queen of drama. I don't know why that is so hard. But, I think on the empowerment mentoring lessons, when we're supposed to minimize drama, and I think, man, I cause drama sometimes. I hate that. But because I get hurt, my feelings get hurt, then I assume all sorts of things about everybody else, and then I get melodramatic about it, and then I turn it into something that's way worse than it is. And I think it's because we need someone to feel and understand and appreciate our hurt. Right? And we're trying to get someone to do that.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to know how to do it. Do I ignore you? Do I talk to you about it again?
Mm-hmm.
Do I do I just call a friend and leave you out of it? Should I pull you into it?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to know what to do there.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Exactly that. What do I do? I talked to my friend Jamie this morning about it, and then there kind of was a moment this morning that I could have mentioned it to him, but I was like, why? Like, I don't know. I just don't. I don't know.
Felt hopeless?
Yeah, and I kind of felt like I was being like a pity party kind of a thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And you might have.
yeah, it's just me, you know. I don't need to bring it up again. Like, just, you know, I don't want to be another burden for him because he has so much stuff going on. I don't want to be, and I told him that when we talked too. Like, I just, you know, I don't want to be another problem for you. I don't you to, you know, worry about me because you have so many other things to worry about that I do want to be a priority.
So you kind of have conflicting emotions. One
Yeah.
side says, I don't want to be a burden and be a problem to you. And the other's like, yeah, I want to be a burden and problem to you.
Right.
To me.
Right.
Okay. So I think that's okay. So what has worked in the past? You said you had successful weeks the other weeks of this month. So what worked?
Well, I think I was just talking about those specific Sundays that he did acknowledge me.
Okay. So when he did that, how did you let him know that you liked that or that you were grateful or happy that he did that?
I don't know if I did. I don't know. I think I just expect it, so make a big deal of it. But I guess I need to.
Well,
so he knows that it is important to me.
Well, you know, it's hard for him because he's got his other challenges that are freaking him out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you think about any time we make a big effort to do something for someone else, it's always nice to be acknowledged, right? Always nice to like, hey, you made that for me, thank you. And then it kind of makes you want to try to do it more, right?
Yeah.
If we only go to them when they didn't do what we wanted them to do, then even if it's only once a month, it feels like we're nagging all the time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it's much easier to go to someone and say, you know what, it has been such a nice month. Just, I know it sounds silly, but just being acknowledged by you once a week at church just really helps me have a better week. Today I noticed that you didn't have time for that, or you didn't feel like you could do that. And it was just a lot harder for me today. And I really missed that.
Did you accidentally summon me?
No, Siri, shut up. I did not. But, you know, being able to say, I really appreciate that you've been trying hard on this. I noticed you didn't have time today, and that was just really hard for me. So I'm trying to be understanding, but just a little reminder, if you could do that, it's really helpful for me.
Okay.
But so you need to speak up for your own needs.
Okay.
And recognize that they are important. So don't blow them off as in my needs aren't important, I should just shut up and not say anything. But also in the context of recognizing his needs and his, you know, assuming the best about him, right, can be really helpful in that. But remember what we talked about, that being highly aware, sorry, swallowed wrong, being highly aware of our feelings and then self-silencing actually triggers eating to be even worse. Because now we're recognizing the negative emotion, but we're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to find a way to value yourself, value your own needs and your opinion, and value his.
Yeah.
It takes some serious practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, some real serious practice. You know, my daughter sent me a video the other day of my grandbaby just started to walk on Thursday. and this great video of her taking about 36 steps. Not that I was counting, right? And it was so adorable to watch her lose her balance and get right on the edge of falling and then fix it. And then like fall backwards and kind of fix it. And it was so cute. And I just got thinking about it and thought, you know, isn't that how we are? The way you learn balance is by being out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
The way we learn how to communicate well is by communicating poorly. The way we learn anything is by doing it badly.
Yeah.
You know, and so give yourself a break. This is a new thing for you and Derek. This is a tough challenge, and you're already taking really good steps, but you haven't mastered it yet. You're not running marathons yet, right? And so you're still going to have stumbles and falls, and he's going to have stumbles and falls, but picking yourself back up, what would picking yourself back up look like in this case?
Having that conversation, like you just said, and getting out of the pity party and moving on.
Oh, that's good. What can you do to connect with Derek rather than waiting for Derek to connect with you?
Well, he has been trying lately, and I'm not reciprocating. So I need to let go of my pride or whatever it is and let him and reciprocate.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
You know, if your dog does the right behavior, you want to give him a treat every time, right? If he feels like he's trying and you're not even noticing, that's the way to make sure it doesn't continue.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, not that you want to do it in a manipulative sort of way, you know, but so what are some things that you could do just today to connect with Derek?
I could send him a text or call him.
Nice.
Make sure when he gets home to greet him and give him a hug and a kiss, and hopefully have a conversation over dinner.
Good. I mean, that right there, look at you've got 5 things right there. Right. And if the conversation is coming from a healthy place, then that too will be a connecting thing rather than a separating thing. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got a lot of great ways that in just one day, you can make it better already.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. If I asked you, is there something you could do in the next 15 minutes to go out and make your relationship with Derek worse? Could you think of something?
I don't know.
I mean, come on. Could you go out and send him a nasty text right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course you could. So there's always something you can do to make it worse. But sometimes we forget that there's a ton of things you can do to also make it better.
Yeah.
Right? So good. How are you feeling right now?
Good.
Okay, a little more hopeful?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's take this emotion. Now we have a much clearer view of where you were emotionally yesterday and head to dinner time, right? Now think about where was your brain instead of on nourishing your body, instead of on enjoying the food, and instead of checking in with how your body felt, what was really going on?
All of this, but I feel like I'm never going to get anywhere because I'm always going to be going through something. So where does that come from? How do I get better? There's always going to be something, and I don't want to keep making excuses.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. There will always be something. I mean, okay, maybe not every second of every day, but consistently, there will always be something. So what has to change then?
I don't know.
Well, if we can't change the external stuff, we can't control all the stuff that's going to happen. What is within our control to change?
Our thoughts and our feelings and what we do.
Yeah, our beliefs about it, right? Once you challenge them enough, to get to the point where you can change the belief, well, what follows beliefs? What's the next chain? Next thing in the chain?
Change.
Belief leads to emotions. Then emotions lead to behaviors, and behaviors lead to consequences, right? So when our beliefs change about the situations we're in, we don't have the same emotions, right? We're not fighting the same emotions. But we're not fighting the same emotions, our actions are different. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So when you stop believing that Derek doesn't love you as much because he didn't say hello at church, right? When you can see clearly, man, he's overwhelmed. How can I connect with him? He's feeling really overwhelmed. That doesn't mean he doesn't love me anymore, even though it feels that way at the moment. It doesn't mean that. So what can I do to meet my needs? What can I do to connect with him? What can I do to give myself something interesting to do on Sunday that helps me get out of that old belief, right? So when you change that belief for real, and you actually do stop believing that that's what his not saying hello means, you don't have the total anxiety and anguish here. Then you find peace, but the situation outside didn't change. He still didn't say hello to you at church, right? But your understanding of the situation changed, and therefore your emotions are different. And then there's not that need to numb with food. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why everything we talk about goes back to, what are your beliefs about the situation? What are your thoughts and your emotions? And that's why we spend so much time trying to identify what is the emotion, but that's not enough. The reason we identify the emotion is to try to identify what thought or belief led to that emotion, and then deal directly with the thought or belief, right? And it takes multiple times over the same one to get it to kind of stick in our head. Oh yeah, I'm doing that again. Oh yeah, I bought into that again. Oh yeah, right? And so I find myself getting triggered sometimes over things that are my old beliefs. Okay, I'll share with you a quick example. So this weekend was my birthday, and my son had agreed a long time ago to be here for dinner tomorrow night, and we were going to also do Easter because of the craziness of their schedules. So I sat down with him. Are you sure you're going to be free? Yes, I'll clear up my schedule. 5 o'clock on, we're great. So I'm excited. I think I'm going to have all my kids that live in state in town. And he texted me in the morning and said, oh, by the way, I have a client at 5:40, so I'm not going to get there till like 7:30. I hope that's okay. It was not okay. I was like hacked, right? And I was hurt. And I was like, hey, what the heck? I even talked to him about this. Does he not even care about me? I'm not even important. And I went into my drama spiel in my head. And luckily, it took me about half hour because I was getting ready. And I just kind of was mad about it. Then I sat down with my trusty journal, which I still didn't bring in here to show you. Imagine a little pink journal. And I wrote down my emotions. I'm frustrated. I feel not important. And I wrote down probably 4 different emotions, wrote down the reasons why, thought about, okay, what is this telling me to say? Well, I needed to speak up to him and say, okay, when I sit down with you specifically to talk about what the schedule is, I expect you're going to put that on your calendar and honor that. So that frustrates me when you don't do that, right? So that's what I texted back. Then I also realized, okay, he didn't do this on purpose. He's an absent-minded professor. Genius in some areas, not so genius in other areas. And organization's not one of his genius areas. So I did end up also saying, and I wish I had said this first, but I said, I know that you didn't do this on purpose. You're not trying to bother me. If you need to come for dinner at 5, if you need to disappear for an hour in the other room, we'll play games with your girlfriend and get to know her. And then we'll do the Easter stuff. We'll make it work, And so it was like I could suddenly calm down and realize, okay, the beliefs I'm having that I'm worthless, that I'm not important to anybody, all that's my drama queen kicking in. That's my old beliefs. Is it real? Okay, no, it's not real. It means my son is the most horrible scheduler ever, and he's kind of an airhead. And so once I was able to remind myself, oh yeah, that's an old belief that really isn't true. Here's what is true. Well, then I was fine the rest of the day. If he came and had an appointment, didn't have an appointment, whatever, I was okay. Still frustrated that the boy can't figure out a calendar to save his life and he's 22 years old. But I didn't feel hurt anymore. Right? And then, of course, later he canceled that appointment and everything was fine. But the difference in my attitude was night and day between when I was buying in at first to my old beliefs. See, I'm worthless. Nobody cares about me. What's the point? And as soon as I reminded myself, oh yeah, old beliefs, it doesn't mean that. What is true? Well, now suddenly I go, all right, it's fine. Right?
Yeah.
He didn't change. I changed. Now, the more I do that, it gets faster and faster and faster and faster. It used to take me like 2 full days of hanging out in my drama place, of hanging out in I'm worthless and nobody cares about me, to come around and realize, oh, shoot, that's not true. That's just my inner self talking. Now it takes me about a half an hour. Right? So it didn't ruin my whole day anymore. It didn't ruin my whole weekend anymore. But it still happens sometimes, and I'm hoping it'll get even faster and faster and faster. I'd like to get to the point where he says it, I'm disappointed, I realize quickly, okay, he doesn't mean it that way, and yeah, I'm not worthless, and I take care of it right then, and 10 minutes later, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're getting nowhere, right? And it feels like this is all just a massive cycle that you're just going to keep going through. Life does cycle, but you cycle faster. And it gets to where instead of, you're living your life here and then you drop down to here and you get back up and then you drop back down. Now you do more of this kind of thing. It's more even, it's more calm, it's easier to control. It's easier to recognize when you're doing it. Faster to recognize when you're doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So next Sunday, you may have a moment when he doesn't say hello or something else goes on and you go, gosh, I'm not important. He just doesn't care about triggering, then no matter what we do, we're never going to connect. And you may have that feeling. And then you may hear Becky go, okay, is that really true, Mitzi? Is it true? And then just challenge it. Well, let's see. Has he been trying lately? Yes, he has been trying lately. So why am I feeling this way? Okay, I'm feeling this way because I'm afraid that we're not going to be connected anymore, whatever. Okay, he's trying. What can I do to try to connect with him? And in a short time, you'll feel better and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it worked. It's better than last Sunday, right? And then you do it over and over until as soon as it pops into your head, you're able to challenge it quickly. I'd love to tell you you're going to get to the point where it never pops into your head. That hasn't happened for me yet. Maybe it will. That'd be awesome. But in the meantime, I at least take a lot of peace in knowing that I can at least handle it when it does. Right?
Yeah.
So talk to me. What are you thinking? I've been doing too much of the talking.
I just been taking notes, and I just feel like there's so many things to work on and do. It's overwhelming and I don't know what to do sometimes. Like, when this happens, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, that's why you just have to deal with what's in front of you at the moment, right? You have to deal with what's in front of you at the moment. What's the emotion you're feeling now? And how do you deal with that? What are the thoughts leading to that? Does it need, and of course we only deal with that when they're negative, right?
Right.
We never say, gee, I'm happy. Why is that?
Yeah.
Right? We only do it when it's negative. So you don't have to do it 24 hours a day. But the next time a negative thing pops up, ask yourself, ooh, hey, red flag, something's going on.
Okay.
I just had a thought or a belief that triggered a really painful emotion. What was that?
Okay.
I'm trying to figure it out. And then on the food side, right, the food is the symptom.
Right.
So when you say, gosh, I ate ice cream again last night, way past full, and I'm physically miserable, that's your cue to say, what happened? Because there's always something that triggered it. And even right up to the point where you're saying, okay, I wasn't really enjoying my food. That's a trigger. Right? I wasn't even enjoying the food. Okay, something's going on.
I feel like that's every time I eat.
That's okay. Then start there. right? It will get less and less and less, just like anything else, the more you pay attention to it. But the more you're eating for emotional reasons, then of course you're not going to pay attention to how you feel, because you're trying to avoid how you feel, right? And if we pay attention to how the food tastes and all that stuff, then what we're doing is we're going inside and we're paying close attention. Well, when we're eating for emotional reasons, we don't want to do that, right? We want to be like, nope, don't want to think about a thing. I just need to numb out right now.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're kind of mutually exclusive. So that's why you got to take that as your red flag, right? Even before you overeat. So can you see how right now, today, at least today's example, you're saying, okay, last night I overate to the point where I was uncomfortable. And today I don't know why, right? So it's assuming maybe 14, 15 hours past that point, right? Okay, so now you understand last night. The next time it happens, hopefully you can do it much quicker. You might figure it out 6 hours after you finish, right? Another time it might happen while you're doing it. And you can be like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, this is what we were talking about. This is a cue that something's going on, right? Maybe you have time at that moment to figure it out. But as you practice, it's going to get sooner and sooner and sooner until you can recognize in the middle of a meal, you know what? I'm not even focused on this. I'm just trying to numb. Why am I doing that? You know? And then, I mean, the ideal is to get to the point where we recognize it before we even pick up the food. And we say, all right, I really, really, really want to eat that right now. And I'm not hungry. So something's going on. Right? Okay. But that's where the curiosity comes into place. Right? The beating yourself up is, when am I ever going to get this figured out? This is stupid. I'm doing this forever. I do it every single meal. And the curiosity is, why have I done it every single meal today? That's interesting. What's going on emotionally? What's the beliefs what am I believing that's leading to that emotion? Right? For me, I find it incredibly helpful to have a therapist. I really, really love my therapist. And he helps me with just think through. He helps me think through stuff and identify. I've gotten good enough at it at this point that sometimes I'm sitting in his office and thinking, I really didn't need him. I kind of know how to do this. Right? And he'll say, you really didn't need me. You knew how to do this. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's easier with you in the room sometimes, you know. But anything that makes it easier for you to sit with yourself and ask the questions. Right? Ask the questions, answer the questions, and try to get down to the bottom of what is the thought behind the emotion? What's the belief? And is it true? Challenge it. Is that true? And that is absolutely the root of this issue. I would love to tell you it's about whether you're eating sugar or flour or whatever else, but that isn't the root.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
Good.
Seem pretty mellow.
Yeah.
That's not always a bad thing. In fact, I like mellow. Yeah. Having calm emotions is like the greatest feeling on earth to me, because I think I grew up in major tumultuous emotions all the time. And for me, like, if you ask me what I want in life, peace is my biggest answer. That's like the ultimate emotion for me. So what kind of things are going through your head?
I don't know. I just want to work, keep working on this and remember to ask these questions.
How does the spiritual tie in?
Well, I know that my progress is because of my Heavenly Father, and that He is helping me, and You know, I thank him all the time for loving me and being patient with me, and I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. How can he help you to, I mean, if you were specifically to ask him what you need help on, what would you ask for?
To help me remember in the moment when I want something, or when I'm eating, to trigger, like, you know, the red flag. What?
Okay,
And
so
curious and start asking questions. And
yeah, so getting help and checking into your emotions,
yeah.
right? And recognizing and checking in for those. That's a good one. What else?
Um, well, as far as with Derek goes, I can ask him to help me to be more open, or more humble, or, you know, to help me want to try, and to not be so hard-headed and stubborn.
Okay, good, awesome. Asking for humility is always a scary thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, hey, but be nice about the way you give it to me. Like, yeah. One of the things that I like to pray for, which is kind of the same thing, but just worded a little bit differently, I like to pray for help in seeing other people the way he sees them.
Yeah.
So if you could see Derek's service and efforts the way that Heavenly Father does, you know, and seeing yourself the way Heavenly Father does.
Yeah.
Right? Because right now it's hard for you to appreciate the progress you've made, the challenge this is and has been, and to have compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
And having compassion for Derek and his challenges, right? And instead coming from a place of hurt and anger and frustration. And sometimes if you can just have that different view of things, just to see it more thoroughly, that can be all it takes to have to change your belief about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are some things that I know he can do for you. I've had experiences where I've been able to pray for just help in remembering things. Okay, help me today to remember to check in. Help me today to remember whatever. Can't think of a specific example. And the next thing you know, it just would pop into my head in the middle of the day. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I should check in for whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So don't underestimate the power that he has, because even if he doesn't change a single thing that anybody chooses to do, he can show you the fuller picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we tend not to see ourselves. Let me show you the food for thought this week. I mentioned it to you before. I've told you about it a couple times about there's a book by Anita Johnson called Eating in the Light of the Moon. And the one thing about the book that stood out to me more than anything was this chapter called Eating, from chapter 3. And what I did is I took an excerpt from it. It's pretty long. You'll see here. Well, not too long, about 2 full pages, where she talks about, well, let's just take a minute and look at it for a minute. She says, imagine yourself standing in the rain on the bank of a raging river. Okay, picture this in your mind while I read it. Suddenly, the water-swollen bank gives way. You fall in and find yourself being tossed around in the rapids. Your efforts to keep afloat are futile, and you are drowning. I feel like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. By chance, along comes a huge log, and you grab it and hold on tight. The log keeps your head above water and saves your life. For some reason, I typed lift, but saves your life. Clinging to the log, you are swept downstream and eventually come to a place where the water is calm. There in the distance, you see the riverbank and attempt to swim to shore. You are unable to do so. However, because you are still clinging to the huge log with one arm as you stroke with the other. How ironic. The very thing that saved your life is now getting in the way of getting where you want to go. There are people on shore who see you struggle and yell, "Let go of the log!" But you're unable to do so because you have no confidence in your ability to make it to shore. This is not unlike the position many people find themselves in when they first become aware of their disordered eating. They feel foolish at best, humiliated at worst, that they are unable to stop a behavior that is interfering with their desire to get where they want to go in life. In the face of their shame, they quickly forget the role their disordered eating played in their survival, how it helped them keep their heads above water through some rough times by giving them a way to deal with their conflicts, feelings, and difficult situations, right? Which is what food is doing for you right now. They immediately assume that there must be something wrong with them to continue such destructive behavior. This view, unfortunately, is supported by well-meaning friends, family, and professionals who suggest that they just stop doing it. Stop starving themselves, stop binging and purging, stop eating compulsively, stop gaining weight. Simply letting go of the log may not, in fact, be the best course of action to take. What would happen if you let go of the log, began to swim to shore, and got halfway there only to find that you didn't have the strength to make it all the way? This means that you won't be able to make it back to the log either. Many people feel foolish for clinging to the log, and many of their friends, family, and even health professionals become frustrated with their resistance to letting go. They assume the tenacity with which they cling to their disordered eating is a personality flaw, rather than a sign from within that more preparation is needed. Recovery from disordered eating requires honoring rather than condemning the resistance encountered. It insists upon a recognition that any behavior that slows, stalls, or creates obstacles in the path toward recovery has meaning and a purpose that can be valuable, even essential, like learning what your beliefs are, right? A woman who seeks recovery needs to understand clearly the way in which her disordered eating has served her so that she can stop viewing it as simply an impediment to her happiness. Only then can she know precisely which skills she needs to develop in order to live a life free from binging, dieting, and food obsessions. One woman may discover that her fat has helped her avoid unwanted sexual advances from men. This tells her that assertiveness is a skill she needs to develop before she can let go of her weight problem. Another woman may discover that she has binged and purged to eliminate inner tension she experiences when faced with conflict. This means that in order to resolve they're using the example of bulimia, she needs to learn some conflict resolution skills. Yet another woman may recognize that her obsession with dieting helped her cope with an intrusive alcoholic mother. And for her, recovery entails learning how to set boundaries in relationships. To recover from disordered eating requires the development of whatever skills are necessary to replace the function of the log. Okay, that's a really important line. To recover from disordered eating requires the development of whatever skills are necessary to replace the function of the log. Once a woman develops these skills, she will discover that they are much more effective and efficient than the disordered eating behavior, and will tend to choose to use them to help her cope with whatever stressors life throws her way. She can then let go of the log, relying on her newfound skills to keep her afloat and to give her the strength she needs to make it to shore. And so, very slowly and carefully, you let go of the log and practice floating. When you start to sink, you grab back on, right? Doesn't that happen? You get a great experience and then you start to sink and freak out and grab the log again.
Yep.
Then you let go of the log and practice treading water. And when you get tired, hold on once again.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, you practice swimming around the log once, twice, 10 times, 30 times, 100 times, until you gain the strength and confidence you need to swim to shore. Only then do you completely let go of the log. Recovery from disordered eating begins with the understanding that the disordered eating behavior served you when your goal was survival. This understanding is then followed by the development of new skills that will enable you not to simply survive, but to get what you want out of life, to thrive. Survival is no longer the only goal. The goal becomes one that includes a life that is rich and fulfilling. It is a gradual, step-by-step process that calls for letting go of judgment. There is something wrong with me belief. The development of some important life skills and learning to trust that inner voice that will tell you when you are ready. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's why I put it in here for you to have this week, because you have to be compassionate with yourself and recognize that it's simply a tool that you're using for survival.
Yeah.
As you continue to develop better tools, then you won't need it anymore. But it's a process.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Is there anything else I can do for you this week?
I don't think so.
Okay. I will post this and get it on the website this afternoon. And
Okay.
you can call me or text me anytime you need help thinking through things, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. Keep going. Lift yourself up whenever you need to. Don't let yourself put yourself down, because you're doing too well for that.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Where am I? Stop share. There we go.